Welcome, my sisters. Welcome to the Money Masterclass Part 2. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Now, let me know in the comments if everything is working out here. As you know, last a little bit strange here, tech-wise. Let's hope it's not going to do the same thing for me again today. If I can see the comments, if everything is working, please say hi to me if you're joining me live. And welcome to everyone who's watching this on the replay as well. I'm really excited to be here with you today. This is a super juicy topic. I'm going to share with you the biggest money mindset shift that I have ever had that was literally the key to catapulting me forwards to 6 figures in my business and also had me manifesting my dream life in Bali within just a few months. So I'm really excited to share with you. Please pop all of your questions and sharings into the comments so I can follow up with you later. Great, let's see who's joining me here live. I can see here everything is looking good. Hi Gina, welcome. And I can't see the comments here, but I can see them in the other window. Good, so everything is looking fine. So let's dive in, ladies. I think it's doing the same thing to me where I can't see the comments and then it's not gonna let me end the video, but who cares? It worked out last time as well. So I can see the comments here in the other browser. So that's great. Now, let me know if you're excited for this. Let me know in the comments. And you're gonna need a pen and a paper again to start answering some really important questions that I'm going to ask you. And I would also love to know how you're feeling after the first part of the Money Masterclass. Have you started to heal your soul level wounds? Have you started to work with your inner child? Have you addressed any tendencies towards a lack mindset and victim mentality? Have you started to balance your feminine and masculine energies? Have you started to declutter a bit? And have you started the 3-step process of manifesting much more money through releasing, becoming, and receiving? Let me know in the comments where you're at with that. I know that we covered a lot in part 1, so I'm curious to see where you're at and help you out in any way that I can. So keep sharing with me. And both masterclasses are going to be available for you until the start of the Money Magic Master. I also really want to congratulate those of you who have already the Money Magic Mastermind. It's such a great decision. I applaud your courage, and I know that this is going to change your financial flow forever. I'm really sure of it, and I can't wait to dive deep with you into all things money. And there's still a few spaces left in the mastermind at the moment, but the special discount is only available for another 2 days, only until the 18th of March. Because we're already starting on the 19th of March with a shamanic healing session where I'm going to work on your biggest money wounds from this lifetime and past lifetimes through shamanic healing, through extraction and retrieval work. So incredible fast action bonus. And then you actually have 2 weeks to integrate that powerful healing before we really start mid-April. So if you're thinking about joining, definitely check this offer out now. Miss out on that incredible bonus, and also there's an incredible discount available for another 2 days, 1,111 euro discount. That's quite a huge discount, so absolutely check it out. You have the link in the description of this video. Good, let's dive in with today's topic, and any sharings and questions that are coming up, please pop them into the comments. I'll check in on those regularly, and I will go back later to catch up with all those of you who are watching this on the replay. Good. Gina says, did a lot of inner child work today. Decluttered my inbox yesterday. Oh yeah, that's also so important. It's not just our, like 3D space, but also the digital space. That's also such an important thing to declutter. I have just decluttered my desktop which lasts for about a week or so, but so important to do so. Good. Now let's go right to juicy bits. Here's the big revelation, the big money mindset shift. I wish This is something that I wish I had understood about money much, much sooner. The money will show up after you decide what you want, not before. So, waiting for the money to show up for what you want is never going to happen. It will just create more waiting and more lack of the money. So that means you have to decide what you want independently of the money. You can't let money be the deciding factor anymore. And the money is actually going to show up as a consequence of that decision that you are taking, because you taking that decision to go without even considering how much something is, that is the starting point of you expanding into a bigger version of yourself. And that is what is actually going to make the money show up. So I'm going to repeat this because it might seem small and insignificant, but I promise you this is the key to expanding into the next version of yourself when it comes to money, the one that can receive and hold the money that you really want to have before. You have to decide what you want independent of the money. Okay, you have to be willing to be in your queen's poise and to go all in with that desire and to claim it and to say yes to that. And then the money for it will show up as a consequence of that decision, because it is the starting point of you expanding into a bigger version of yourself. Let me know if that's really sunk in, if you understand the meaning of this fully, or if you have questions. This is really, really important to understand. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how that plays out in the 3D in a moment. So what I see many women doing is like, oh, I really want to buy this car. I really want to invest in this program. I'm just gonna, ask the universe for the money, and I'm just gonna wait until I manifest it. That's how you manifest it, right? No, you make the decision. Okay, this car is for me. I'm gonna buy that. This program is for me. I'm gonna invest in that. And then the money shows up because you have taken that decision. That's how you manifest. And of course, it's gonna involve some actions. We don't just keep it at that decision. You need to follow that up with actions, and of course also with creating the energetic alignment between what you want and what you, you have to bridge the gap. We're gonna go more into this today, and I hope that you watched part 1 because it was a really important foundation for what we're covering today. So I'm gonna give you an example from walk you through the whole process of me manifesting a 6-figure business and my dream life in Bali at the same time. And it's going to explain exactly how you can do the same. So for each step, I'm going to ask you to answer some questions so that you can repeat that process for yourself. I understand, just never heard it put like that. Yeah, I haven't either. This is coming from my own spiritual practice and my own manifestation practice, and it's been such a big shift for me. Can't let money be the deciding factor. Wow, yes, exactly. It really is. Like, right? We are so used to that. Like, you go to the store, you look at something you want, you look at the price, then you're like, yes or no. No. Look at the thing, you don't even look at the price, you look at the quality, you feel into it. Most importantly, like, is this gonna contribute something really valuable to my life? Is this something that I either need in a practical way or that I'm gonna love for a really long time? Then you decide you want it, yes or no. Then you look at the price. And if you can't buy it that day because you don't have enough money on your bank account, you still have made that choice, you claimed it, and you're like expecting the money to show up. And of course you're gonna get off your butt and you're gonna make it happen, right? Maybe someone owes you a debt, you're gonna call that in. Maybe you're gonna ask someone to give you a loan. Like, maybe there's some more work you can take on that's been offered to you anyways. Maybe you find the money in a drawer, it doesn't really matter, but there is some action taking involved. But you cannot let money be the deciding factor, because that means that money is controlling you. And money shouldn't be controlling you. You should be controlling your money, right? This is the way it works, and it seems like a really small thing, but it is so important. This is what makes you go out of a lack mentality into this queen's poise and be like, yes, the world is my oyster. I can literally have everything I want, and you will really find that it's true. I mean, think back life, like when you really needed something, it was like a necessity. You needed it. It might have been expensive, but it was a necessity. Like you needed to get your dishwasher repaired or your car, stuff like that. And it might have been an expense that was super high and you didn't know where the money was going to come from. But of course, you found the money for it, right? Because it was a necessity. Well, what if you applied that same mindset to other things that might not seem like a necessity, but that you really want? What if you stopped seeing it as a luxury, but as your birthright to have that, and then to just happen, to step into that energy of that powerful you truly are, right? I mean, on the soul level, on the spirit level, you are literally connected to everything in the universe. There is nothing that you can't have. You just have to decide to go for it, and you have to stop making yourself small, and you have to take the decisions based on what is for your highest good and not based on what's in your bank account right now. That never works out. And once you do, your bank account is gonna look very different very soon. Good. Okay. That was more of an excursion into that. So let's dive into an example. Now, little thing I want to add here. This whole thing that I just described is all about, this is much bigger than just about money. This is about living from the inside out as opposed to living from the outside in. Like what most people do is they look at and then what they see there, they let that decide what they can have, what they can't have, who they are not, how they should behave, how they shouldn't behave. But, that you have it backwards if you live that way, because the outside world really is just a manifestation of your inside world. So if you keep accepting this reality instead of this is your reality, then you're going to create more of this. But if you start to live from the inside out, you're going to create more of that, of what you really want, of who you really are, basically. And that is so, so, so powerful. Okay? So never let the circumstances of your life decide what is right for you, what you can have, what you can't have. Okay? Always from the inside out. Okay, here's my example. When I still lived in Austria and I wanted so badly to move to Bali, I didn't know how to make it happen. The money wasn't there. The circumstances wasn't there. I was in this difficult, custody situation with Lou's dad. And I also knew that it just wouldn't happen. I just continued to live my life as I did, right? If you continue to do the things as you always do them, well, you will manifest more of the same. Makes sense, right? Sounds simple, but I feel like that's what we're all doing all the time. It's like we want something different and we dream about it, and that's it. We keep living our life the same way, Like, oh yes, I really want those amazing bamboo clothes, but I keep buying the cheap shit, You're not gonna get there by keep buying the cheap shit, You have to decide, okay, I'm gonna go for the quality because that t-shirt is gonna last 5 years longer than the other one, so actually I'm gonna save money in the long run. And it starts a lot with the worthiness, like feeling worthy of that better quality. Just an example. So I had to change. If I wanted what showed up in my life to change, right? I had to change for the money to show up that I needed to move to Bali and for the circumstances that I needed to align. So first step is that, first you have that realization, and the first step really is in that process. I asked myself, why do I want to live in Bali? Remember, we need to give money purpose. And I made a list of why I want to live there. Now, first of all, obviously there was the weather. I mean, hello, eternal summer, right? The ocean. I've always been drawn. I've lived by the ocean quite a few times in my life. I always moved to places that had an ocean. The spiritual community, the fresh fruit, the alternative schools, to live in nature, to feel free from societal expectations and rules, to get amazing massages every week, to go on adventures, to discover the beautiful island, to have a more relaxed lifestyle, to live in a villa instead of an apartment, to have my own pool and garden, to be able to adopt a cat and a dog, to have a cleaner to take care of the place. The list goes on. Those are just the most important things. So this is the first part of this process of manifesting what you want fast before the money for it even shows up. You get clear on what you want that money for, and you make a list of everything that it will do for you. Okay, be very clear on what that will do for you. Okay, now in the Money Masterclass 1, you started to feel into your bigger vision, right? What you want all that money for. I hope you're clear on that already. If not, I highly encourage you to go deeper with that, because as we covered before, money needs a purpose. In case you're not clear on it yet, I'm going to give you a minute right now to feel into what you really want, what you think you need all that money for. Start that now and write it down on your piece of paper. And when you have clarity, you might not have finished that process, so just leave some space below where you started, and you can continue this exercise after the masterclass. And when you have that clarity, you're ready for the next step. So then, after I became clear on what I wanted that money for specifically, I looked at my life, the life I was currently living. I was surrounded by roads. It was dismally gray and wintry outside. There was no ocean, no spiritual community in sight. It was all work, no play, because I didn't like living there, so I preferred working, My purpose fulfills me. I love working with you all. So I just worked more and more and more just to not even engage with all of that life there in Austria at all. And I was also just sticking out like a sore thumb, amidst the city people, with my ideas, with my wishes, with my worldview, and even with my clothes. So, getting clear on where you are at right now, that's the second step, okay? This will make you aware of the gap between where you are at and where you want to go. And that awareness is crucial. But be very careful. Most people, when they do this kind of exercise, okay, they fall into a feeling of feeling sorry for themselves, into lack and victim mentality. We've covered how to overcome that by healing on a deeper level in part 1, right? That's really important, because what you really have to do here, so you don't manifest more lack, is find acceptance for where you are at, and even gratitude, and just know in your bones that the past and the present, they do not define your future. And then you have to just start to feel excited for what can happen for you when you dare to dream big and take aligned action. Like, let yourself fall into that vision. Imagine it in all the details. Instead of feeling into, I don't have that now, you go for, I can have this. I will have this. But make sure you don't go into the future, like, I can have this, I love this, I love this. Go into the feeling of loving this, because it is already real on a vibrational level. It is already real in your energy. The moment that this desire is born out of your heart and soul, if it's not just something that you want, a mindfuck thing, it's like, I have to have that dress because then my boyfriend will find me sexy again. Yeah, no, that's not a heart and soul desire, right? So with those desires, we can't really go that deep, because they're not really important to the universe. Like, the real desires of your heart and soul, they're there for a reason, helping the universe to expand, to experience itself through you. This is what the universe is literally supporting, those big desires that you have. So allow yourself to feel excited about them. Now, I want you to take a moment now to practice that. Where are you at in relation to what you want? Take a moment to get really clear on that. Acknowledge the gap. And if you want to, keep sharing with me in the comments. And then once you have acknowledged the gap, find acceptance for it. Maybe even gratitude for exactly where you are at. Knowing that this is just a stepping stone. And the next question from there is, how can I change things around right here, right now, before all the money for that big desire shows up? How can I get closer to what I want to experience? In other words, how can I start to bridge the gap? And that's step 3. Now, let me walk you through what that looked like for me. I couldn't change the weather or make the ocean appear in Austria, but there is a lot that I could do, and I really went all in with that. Like, I was so dedicated to this. So hear what everything I did. As a single mom, having a minimal child care available a day. My son was 3 at the time. I still managed to do all of that, even with a full-on business. I took care of lots and lots of things. So, for example, I asked my cousins, one of them has a cat, one of them has a dog, they could take care of their pets, because that's something I wanted in my life. So I wanted to bring that energy in, and they were actually really happy. Like, they had to go somewhere at sometimes, and then they would just leave them at my place, and I would get into the energy of that. I went through the trouble of finding a really great source of organic, regionally grown veggie and fruit baskets that I ordered to my house every week. And of course, that was maybe not the great variety of fruit that I was longing for from Bali, but the quality was great, and it was really fresh since it was grown regionally, and that's how I brought that energy into my life. I also hired a cleaner to come fortnightly, and that's all I could afford at the time. But it was a start, right? It wasn't like getting my house cleaned weekly or even every 3 to 4 days like I would have ideally wanted. But it was a start to that expansion that I wanted. I also hired a massage therapist to come to my place once a month. Again, I would have wanted weekly massages, but it was a step in the right direction. I was bringing that energy into my life. I started to cut down on work as well and take naps after lunch. And that was such a stretch for me at the time. I was, my son was in kindergarten only for a few hours a day, and I was so swamped with work. But, the trick is, to have more time, you simply have to take more time. And from a well-rested place, you can get so much done so much faster, and you'll do it from the right kind of vibration. So what you will do will yield much better results. So whenever you feel really stressed and burnt out, cutting back on work is actually what's going to help you get more work done as well as get more rested, as paradoxically as it sounds. I also started to make trips into the Austrian countryside with Lou as little adventures. I couldn't just stay in that vibration of being disgusted with where I am, because then I would just, keep creating that situation where I'm disgusted with where I am. No, I started to appreciate Austria for what it is. I mean, when I say, oh yeah, I'm from Austria, people start like, wow, I've been to your hometown, I've been to Salzburg, it's the most beautiful town in the world. It's true. It's fucking beautiful. I just didn't appreciate it because it's where I'm from. It's where I had a fucking hard childhood, and, more trauma than good things, but there was a lot of good things, and I needed to start to appreciate that, So I did. I went outside into the park. Our apartment was located we had this big private garden, and in every weather, even in the snow, and I just sat down with my back against the old trees, even in the cold, and I just connected to nature in the best way that I could with the little nature that I had around me. I also put jungle wallpaper into my apartment, and I filled it with plants. So, was that the real thing? Was that the actual jungle? Of course not. But it was a first step to manifest that jungle home that I actually really wanted. And I also started to appreciate Lucy's garden for what it was. And the good parts of it, because before I had been in this loop of like feeling really guilty that he has to go to childcare in the first place because he was until 3 years old and he didn't really want to. But I knew that I couldn't do this anymore, work next to him. I knew it wasn't good for him, it wasn't good for me, it wasn't good for business, so I just had to do it. And he had to start socializing. And of course, it wasn't this ideal alternative kindergarten that I wanted, because the only one that was in that city was like an hour away from where we lived. And it was also super expensive. I simply couldn't afford it. So I went for the neighborhood option. It was a small place where I knew that he would feel more comfortable than in one of those crazy big places with 200 kids. And he had some really good people there, and he made some really good friends there. And I had to stop feeling guilty and, trusting that he's taken care of and that I'm doing the best I can. And find appreciation and gratitude for what is good and the imperfect. And that obviously got me in a much higher frequency, and it made me feel better while I was working, knowing that he was there. And it was aligning me with the upgrades that I actually really wanted for him. And what I also did is I invited people over to my apartment to create a conscious community. Now, that's kind of crazy what I did there. Like, I was living in this city with very few spiritual people. It's like Linz is a very industrial town. It's where my mother was born and where a big part of my family lives today. So we moved there when we had to come back from Scotland. And I thought, well, I can't be the only one. So I started to involve the two spiritual friends that I did have in the same city, and they got together their friends, and then they brought their friends, and a community started to grow. And we would have these gatherings at my place, little parties that I would throw. And the cool thing is that community still exists today. I have been away from Austria for over a year now, and the community has grown considerably, and they are now looking for land to buy and to live together, which is really, really cool. And this is how, for me personally, I started to manifest the amazing spiritual community that I now live in here in Bali. So the question is, what can you do now to bridge the gap between where you are at and where you want to be? Make a list. Make a list and start implementing it all step by step. No need to overwhelm yourself. Do it step by step, but do it. So you can start writing that list now. I'm going to give you a minute. And let me know in the comments if all of this is making sense. Hi, Annalisa, welcome. And let me know if you have questions at all. So I hope that you saw in that example that it's not about the money. Of course, I made some small investments, and that's often where the change starts, with actually making an investment. But there's a lot of things that didn't cost money at all that I did to get closer to what I wanted, right? So you can really start living it all now, and then the money will follow. And it's just a few weeks later, after I decided to live my dream now, and I started to implement everything I just shared with you, and not postpone it all to Bali. Because if you postpone things, if you wait for things, you will wait forever. It will just not happen if you don't align with it, if you don't take aligned action. So just a few weeks after I did that, the money started to flow in. I had created the apprenticeship, and 8 people already signed up for the first round, and I made more money there and then than I ever had before. And in 2020, at the end of it, I had earned my first 6 figures. And mere months later, everything and everyone was ready to go and move to Bali. It was just incredible. I live my dream life now. I really do. All of these aspects, everything that I wanted, I have that now. And, I would never have gotten here if I had just kept dreaming about it without taking aligned action. It just wouldn't have happened. So I didn't wait to earn more money first before hiring a cleaner and a massage therapist. And yes, it made me sweat to spend that money because I didn't feel I actually had money to spend on luxuries like that. But I also knew that this was necessary for me to expand into the version of myself that I wanted to be and living the life I wanted to live. And that is the thing with spending money. Like, you have to spend it first before the benefits of what you're buying can be seen and felt. It's like if you buy a banana, right? You have to pay for it first, and then you can eat it and enjoy it, right? It's a weird example because I don't like bananas, but I hope you get the idea. Now, by investing in yourself, you're expanding into a new version of yourself that is capable of receiving and experiencing what you want to be, do, and have. And of course, that doesn't work if you keep telling yourself, oh, I can't afford this, I can't afford that, right? You have to stop saying that. That it shouldn't be in your vocabulary. It's like what we covered in the last session, in part 1 of the Money Mastermind. So please, sister, do not sit around and wait for what you want to fall into your lap. It's not going to happen this way. The universe only has your back if you are willing to take full responsibility for your financial reality and go for what you want. You know, no matter the price. I'm sure you will agree that every worthwhile change in your life started with an investment. You know, it might have been a killer new haircut that made you confident enough to finally leave your abusive boyfriend, or you started to buy more quality food so you could feel better in your body, or you invested in therapy or coaching or healing to overcome fears and struggles, and in the end your life just got so much better from doing that, right? Because money is just energy, right? Money is how you say, this is what I want and I am worthy of that, and I am exchanging this money for this and that result in my life. And isn't that incredible that we can do that? And aren't these results, you know, like invaluable, right? So I definitely know that this is true for me in my life. Like, for example, every time I make a big jump in my business, it's after a big investment. I'm not saying you can't make big jumps without a big investment, but usually that is what happens. Now, let me know examples from your own life in the comments. When did you make an investment in yourself for you big time? You know, and created that energetic alignment that you needed? Let me know in the comments. Hi Bita, you say I did. Let me know what that was. I really want to give you 2 action steps to take today. Action time. Now remember, the process to create transformation and manifestation is this: awareness of what you really want, acceptance of where you are at, energetic alignment with what you want, and aligned action. So I want you to do 2 things today. First of all, keep working on this manifestation plan that I have laid out for you, okay? Go back to that vision from part 1 of the masterclass. What do you want that money for? And make a list like I did. Like, my thing that I wanted is move to Bali. Now, why? What is that going to do for me? For you, it might be, I don't know, install a bathtub instead of the shower. It's something I want to do right now. I'm trying to get the permit for it. And why do you want that? Right? You write down the relaxation, the ease, all of that. And then you make a second list of how you will bring the energy of everything you want into your life by taking aligned action. Okay? And second thing I want you to do is check out the Money Magic Mastermind. If you want to change your financial future, your financial flow forever, take some time today to feel into joining the Money Magic Mastermind. I know it's not a small investment, but this is the kind of program that is worth 10 times what I ask for it. And this is probably what I'm going to charge for it one day. So if you're here now, you are at an incredible advantage to all those who come across this offer later. You know, it's like when I offered shamanic chakra healing for abundance for the first time. I charged 177 euros for the first round I ever held, and now it is 777 euros because that's what it's worth. Actually, it's priceless, but I have to put some price tag on it, don't I? So, and in addition to that, you know, the early bird price for the Money Magic Mastermind is still available. So not only do you get it for the already small base investment that is going to get much higher in the future, but you have another huge discount available to you, but only for another 2 days, only until the 18th. Because what you're also going to get if you join now is an incredible fast action bonus. Because on the 19th of March, we're already going to have a shamanic healing session where I will work on your biggest money wounds from this lifetime and past lifetimes. Sorry. Got a little too here, but I want you to understand what this can do for you. This healing session alone could change so much because we often struggle with what happened to us in past lifetimes and we're not even aware of it. Us women, if you look at the past few millennia, we have been suppressed in so many ways, and of course also financially. So of course, if you find you have money blocks in this lifetime, of course it has something to do with your story in this lifetime, right? But it also has a lot to do with your past lifetimes. So I'm going to help you heal that. So this is really an invaluable bonus that I'm going to give you as well, only available for another 2 days. And the way it's going to work is we work on this on the 19th of March, and then you have 2 weeks before we actually start the program in April, so that you have time to properly integrate this powerful healing, because it will take a moment. So if you want that incredible 1,111 euro discount and the incredible early bird bonus, then join us today or tomorrow before it's gone. So click the link in the description, which is a special discount link. If you go on my website without that link, you will not find the discount there. And I'm going to give you a few minutes before I end this live to answer any questions that you have about this masterclass, the manifestation process that I laid out for you, the money mindset shifts that we covered, and of course also the money magic mastermind. Hi Stephanie, welcome. Just about to end this live, but you're so welcome to enjoy the replay. So happy to see you here again. Now, I think what happened is because Facebook is having this little glitch again. I think that no one was really notified of the live, just like last time. I have to figure out what's going on here technically. And probably the next live is going to happen in my private network again, because I really love avoiding Facebook. Exactly because of those reasons. So many of you are going to watch this on the replay, so absolutely put everything, all your sharings, comments, questions into the comments, and I'm going to follow up with you there and then, and really look forward to that. And absolutely do not miss out on this amazing program. Don't forget, only available for another 2 days if you want to have the big discount and the amazing fast action bonus of the shamanic healing session. I'm still here for you if you have questions. Let me know in the comments. And now I'm going to try to end this live, and like last time, it's probably not gonna let me. So bear with me as I try to figure this out. And let me say goodbye anyways.